Hi guys, Deuces here, back with another video and doing another of my top 10 figures of 2024 lists. I'm doing top 10 Marvel Legends. If you follow my channel for a while, I've mentioned it multiple times that a while back I sold off a good chunk of my Legends figures and I slowed way down on them, and I really try to only buy figures I really want for the most part. But this year, I bought enough to be able to comfortably do a top 10. I didn't get everything by a mile, and there's a plenty of figures I actually wanted and wasn't able to get. But yeah, I don't know. This year with the 85 years, was it? I think it's 85 fifth year anniversary. Um, Man, they just put out a lot of really good stuff, a lot of stuff that I wanted, either upgrades to old versions of figures or whole new figures that I wanted to get. So yeah, I got a fair amount of Legends this year. It was a really good year for Legends, I think. A few figures I didn't get that probably would have made the list. Like I wasn't able to get Warbird. I do have the Dark Avengers version on pre-order, so I'll have a version of Warbird at some point. But I wasn't able to get the normal Carol Danvers version, and I probably never will because I don't really want to spend much over retail for it. I didn't get the X Men Cable. I actually will be getting it. The local comic book shop just got it back in stock for some reason, and they have it on hold for me. So I'll be getting him at some point. He might have made the list. There might have been a few other things. I didn't get the Hulkbuster. I just didn't want to spend the money they want for it. So I want to wait till it goes on sale. So I didn't get that. That probably would have made the list if that I got that. I didn't get Odin, stuff like that. Anyways, first off though, just some honorable mentions in front of you. Just some stuff didn't quite make the list. Both the non-comic book figures that I got this year didn't make the list, but I think worth mentioning, like the Deadpool movie Wolverine. I think it's a cool figure. It's not perfect. I think the articulation could have been a little better. I think his limbs are maybe a little too skinny looking. And obviously, the figure is a little inaccurate in the sense that if you display him with the mask sculpt, he never wore the mask with the sleeves on in the movie, anyways. Even though this is a look he would have had at some point that we didn't see on screen. But it's a cool figure. I think it looks good. Still poses fine. The accessories are decent. He does come with a really, really good unmasked Hugh Jackman sculpt. The likeness is super, super good. Like, it might be one of the best Hasbro face print likenesses I've seen. I actually display that head sculpt on my X-Men Origins like Legacy Collection Wolverine. I got it before it got re-released, but that Wolverine with the white tank top, I've actually swapped the head out for that one so I could display this figure with the mask because I do like how it looks with the mask. And then that figure has the new head sculpt that came with this, which I think was really good. But yeah, this one's okay. Surprising figure. I got this guy for decently under retail, but the Retro Wave Jack-o'-lantern's actually really good. He's got a lot of new sculpted parts, pinless joints. The head sculpt is super cool. The sculpted and painted detail of the actual pumpkin part of the helmet or whatever looks really nice within the brighter yellow underneath, and the translucent flame effect that's on his head is super well done, I think. I like how the pumpkin bomb thing can plug, like, clips right into his hand. You can plug it on his belt if you want. He has a few hand options, and he also has the hoverboard thing that looks really good as well, articulates well. Like, it's actually, like, I feel like kind of a sleeper banger of this year. Didn't quite make the list because I didn't need to have a jack-o'-lantern figure in my collection, but I do like having him to add to my Spider-Man shelf. Always a fan to be able to do that. Figure I thought I was going to put on the list, but I decided kind of last minute to just have it as an honorable mention, is the Baron Heinrich Zemo. I don't think this character has gotten a figure since the Toy Biz days, but I'm a big fan of both the Zemo characters. I just think they're really cool villains. They're some of my favorites, especially when it comes to, like, Avengers villains / Captain America villains. I think they did a really good job with this. He has a decent amount of reuse, but you do have some new sculpted parts here and there, and I think the head sculpt looks really, really well done. And this is a hooded sculpt, so I don't really know why they can't do the same thing for a Cobra Commander classified figure if they can do it in Legends. But the head sculpt looks really nice. The accessories are good. He has a sword. He's got a gun, German Luger pistol, a few hands. My honestly biggest complaint is just the fact that I had to buy a 2-pack with an Arnim Zola to get him. And to be fair, I don't hate having an Arnim Zola in my collection. I didn't own one yet, so that eased the blow a bit. But I also didn't need to have an Arnim Zola in my collection either. I would have preferred to just pay for one figure rather than the two, but the Zola is still all right. And then lastly, he just didn't quite make it either, but the Legacy Collection, they call it, the movie Colossus is a character I think many of us have been wanting in Legends form for a while now. I guess he's a bit oversized, actually. I think people are saying he's a bit too big. He doesn't scale quite right with the other characters, but honestly, I prefer Colossus to be too big than too small. So it doesn't bother me much. I still think it looks fine. The paint's really nice. The articulation's pretty good. He has decent accessories with 2 sets of hands, the little book, and 2 head sculpts. And I think it's honestly a pretty decently priced for what you get. So I really like him, but just not quite, didn't quite make the top 10. Anyways, that's it for honorable mentions. So let's take a look at the actual list now. All right, now moving on to the actual list at number 10, which replaced Baron Zemo and Arnim Zola, is the Retro Wave Spider-Man Wave Tombstone. I like Tombstone as a character quite a bit. I've actually been wanting a Tombstone for a while. I was considering getting the older one from not a few years ago now, but I'm glad I didn't. Because this is actually, I think, another kind of like Jack-o'-lantern, kind of a sleeper, really good hit from this year. I'm a really big fan, obviously, of Spider-Man characters and Spider-Man villains to add to my Spider-Man shelf. I'm also a big fan of the mob-centric characters, which Tombstone is. And I like that they went with his more mob look with the suit. And I think this is an entirely new suited body mold, which works really well. It's nice, proportioned, pinless joints, articulates way better than the previous suited bodies, which most are pretty terrible. So that's really good. He comes with a bunch of accessories, a few different hands, the crowbar, and 2 head sculpts, and both head sculpts look really good. He's got the smiling one here and the anger one, and both have a lot of personality in them. Just a really, really solid figure that is, I think, kind of a must-buy for anyone who's trying to build out their Spider-Man shelves. At number 9, we have I can't remember what they called it on the packaging. I can't remember if they called it the Model 24 or the Model 20, but it is the Iron Man from the Retro Iron Man wave. It was either listed as the Model 20 and it's actually the Model 24, or it was listed as the Model 24 but it's actually the Model 20. I can't remember. But this figure is really cool. I try not to get too many Iron Man figures because you can easily go overboard. They make a ton of Iron Man figures. But I had to get this one when I saw it in stores. I just think it looks really great. I think from a design standpoint, I think it's my favorite looking Iron Man in my collection anyways. I really love the design of this armor. Has a decent amount of sleekness and kind of bulkiness to it, I guess. Yeah, I really love the helmet design. Looks super good. The colors are decent. I mean, I wouldn't say, like, at Hasbro Marvel Legends, the Iron Man paint jobs aren't anything too crazy to talk about. Obviously, they could be shinier, but I think this one still looks pretty good. Arc Reactor looks cool. Has some pretty cool articulation. Like, this figure actually has butterfly joints, which you rarely ever see on a Iron Man figure, and they're actually hidden really well too, so that's super cool. But this figure does have a few issues that bug me a fair amount that you don't see on other Iron Man figures. One is he comes with repulsor blast hands, like open palm hands, but because the armor plate overhangs where the joint is and it's not very flexible, it is super hard to almost impossible to get him into a proper good looking repulsor blast pose, which I think is a pretty big issue, honestly. You know, it's an Iron Man. This is bread and butter, repulsor blast. And if you can't do it correctly or not be able to make it look good, that is pretty annoying. Also, the repulsor effects, they, for whatever reason, didn't include little flare effects around the bottom, or the base of the effects, so the pegs stick out a little bit. That one's not as big of a deal, but it's still a little weird looking. But it's still a super cool Iron Man, and I'm glad I got him. Next up is a multi-pack. I am counting multi-packs as one slot because I had to buy the multi-pack to get the figures unless you get them loose. But I am going to go with the Amazon exclusive Cabal 3-pack. Which I was a really big fan of. So at first I wasn't too crazy about getting the 3-pack because at first the only figure I was really interested in was the Iron Patriot because I had the old Marvel Legends Iron Patriot, which not a terrible figure, but the report is way too small, didn't come with any accessories, etc., etc. This one fixes a lot of the issues. The proportions and size is corrected. Articulation's way better, has decent accessories with a couple sets of hands, repulsor effect blasts, and he has the swappable helmet sculpt or the really cool Norman Osborn head sculpt. Really love the storyline of like Dark Avengers and Siege and all that sort of stuff, so I was really happy to get this guy. But the other figures honestly surprised me in the set too. The Doctor Doom, I already have the Super Scroll Wave Doctor Doom. I still do prefer that figure, but this one is a nice kind of side grade because it has that soft goods cloak, which I think is super cool, and I hope they do more of that in Legends. I like the kind of shorter lower tunic on this one as well. And I really like that they included an interchangeable Doombot head because it made the blow of buying this 3-pack a little better because I just swap off the head and I display this figure as a Doombot. But if you don't have a Doctor Doom, this is a really good option. And then I think the surprising star for me this way or set was actually the Taskmaster. I had the Infinity War Wave Taskmaster from a few years ago, and I was perfectly happy with that one, but until I got this guy and then realized just how much better a Taskmaster figure could be. The body they use for this guy, way better, pinless, better articulation, better proportions, better quality. The paint and sculpt's nice. I absolutely love the head sculpt on this figure. It's so much better than the old one. And comes with a slew of accessories, a bunch of hands, sword. He has his pistol and his holster there. The shield, which is a lot nicer. He's got the bow and arrow, and the arrow can be stored in the quiver, and you can have him pose with the bow and all that. Yeah, just a super, super solid set. Then number 7 is another figure I wasn't really planning to get, but I saw people's videos and pictures of her, and I saw her in store, and I decided I just gotta have it. I did get the retro Iron Man Wave She-Hulk, and I'm not like a huge She-Hulk fan. I like her; she's a good character. But it's not like I needed to have a She-Hulk figure, but man, they really just did an excellent job on this one. Looks absolutely fantastic. The size is great. Not a deluxe figure, but definitely taller than your average Marvel Legends figure, and decently heftier as well for the most part. Articulation's really good. Paint and sculpt's great. The head sculpt really is the thing that shines the most with this figure. It's absolutely awesome. The hair is huge and superbly sculpted and painted, and then the head sculpt with the face print is no joke, probably one of the best female faces and head sculpts I have in my entire collection among like any like line of figures I have. They really, really did a good job here, and I love the little smile. The accessories are decent as well. 2 sets of hands, and she has the little like broken rifle. It looks like she's smashing it or something, which is cool. Would have been nice to get an interchangeable head sculpt with maybe an angry expression, but with how large and how much plastic is used in this hairpiece, not super surprising that was maybe out of the budget. But yeah, I think just another home run figure for them this year. And at number 6, it is another multi-pack. It is the Heroes for Hire 2-pack with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I've been wanting some good versions of these guys for a while now. I had the Defenders Iron Fist for a good little bit, and I just haven't had a Luke Cage because the ones that have been coming out just haven't really vibed with me. But this set's awesome. This is my preferred look for both characters. I like how Luke Cage looks here, and this is my favorite look for Iron Fist. And yeah, the articulation on Iron Fist is awesome, and he's pinless. Comes with a bunch of accessories, 2 head sculpts, a bunch of hands, and the flame effects for his powers is super cool. I like that you can rotate the ties of his mask behind his head to accommodate for the posing that you're doing. I think that is super sick as well. And then Luke Cage as well, done really well for this big body mold. Actually poses and moves pretty well and pretty dynamically. Not as many accessories as Iron Fist, but he still comes with a couple pairs of hands. I love the brass knuckles that have Luke Cage on them, even though I don't really know why he would even need brass knuckles. But he does have them, and then both of his head sculpts I think also look really good. I have the yelling ones on them for both of them. But yeah, just a pair of really awesome figures, and obviously they make super sense for a 2-pack. They're a pair. And at number 5, a Wolverine had to make the list because they released an absolute ton of them this year. But it is, of course, the 85 years astonishing X-Men Wolverine. I had the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave. Tiger Stripe Wolverine was my main Wolverine in my collection for years. But this one has dethroned it. This is probably my favorite outfit for Wolverine, or it's up there at any rate. I think it's just, and again, another awesome job. I love the colors, the bright colors on this Wolverine. The proportions for the most part are pretty good. The articulation's good. The accessories are great. It has a few different pretty good hand options, and the unmasked Logan sculpt as well as the masked Wolverine sculpt here both look really good as well. There's not too much else to say. Just in many ways, the definitive Marvel Legends Wolverine right now, and definitely fits my my purposes for Wolverine in my collection. At number 4 is a figure I'm really glad I was able to get my hands on and get a pre-order in for. It is the Walmart exclusive retro card back of Venom. Mostly reuse, I do believe. Reusing the body from that Amazon exclusive multi pack. I think they had like Riot and Scream, maybe. No, I don't think it was Scream. I don't remember who it was. Another one of the symbiotes. There's so many now; it's hard to keep track. But I've had like the Monster Venom figure for a while. I've had the movie Venom figure for a while. I like them both a lot, but I really wanted just a more normal sized comic book looking Venom, and this one fits the bill really nicely. He's big, but he's not too huge like the Monster Venom. He poses nicely. Accessories are pretty good. You got a couple sets of hands. You got the really cool looking McFarlane style head sculpt, and you got the more like modern, I guess, sculpt with the tongue going crazy. Do wish he was pinless. It doesn't bother me that much, but it would have been nice on this tiny figure. But the articulation still is real nice, and yeah, just happy to have a more normal looking Venom in the collection on the Spider-Man shelf. So for that reason, he's pretty high on my list. Next, number 3 is a super cool set that I actually got for like stupid cheap, which was nice. But it is the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider set with the Hell Cycle. An awesome set. I actually was not sure if I was really going to get this because I'm not super familiar with Danny Ketch, if I'm being honest. I'm more Johnny Blaze, and I have that old Legendary Riders Johnny Blaze Legends from a few years back now. But when I was able to get it for as cheap as I was able to get it, I had to get it, and I'm super happy I did. This guy just is such a cool and awesome display piece that really does pop on the display. The bike is super cool. I did slightly mod mine. I did the thing where I stuck a little bit of piece like white cardboard behind the shield here to give it the headlights. That's like my only gripe with the bike itself. I love the translucent wheels with the yellow on the inside that fades to the orange. The effect parts you get are super cool. You can either have them on the wheels and have it just flat driving, or you have this flame effect to make it look like he's kicking a wheelie, which I think is so cool. The Ghost Rider figure itself is painted and sculpted really nicely, articulates fairly well, looks good. He comes with okay accessories. I feel like the Ghost Rider figure itself maybe could have came with a little more. Maybe some more hand options, maybe some like flame effects for his hands or something. Maybe mid transformation or just full on normal Danny Ketch head sculpt I think would have been super cool. The shotgun he has doesn't come with him, but I think he looks super cool with the shotgun, so I pose him with it. But yeah, just an awesome piece. Really, really pops on the display. I really love it. At number 2 is a figure I really thought was going to be number 1 this year, but just didn't quite make it for me, although they are pretty neck and neck, I won't lie. But it is the Superior Spider-Man. I am so happy they made this. I was super excited for it when they announced it. I sold it now, but I had the old one they did that was based on like concept art, and it was fine, but it was on that old mold that proportionally wasn't the best. It was missing details. It didn't have the best of accessories. This one just does so much better. It looks way more accurate. Comes with 2 head sculpts. I really like this head sculpt where he's got like this city skyline in his lenses. I think that's a super cool concept. I'd like to see them maybe experiment with a little more. He does, of course, have the fully articulated spider arms coming at the back, which look really nice, although unfortunately I don't have enough space on my display to display him with these on his back, but they are super, super cool. Fair amount of hand options. Articulation is really good, although I am curious why they didn't use the more newer style diaphragm cut. They opted to go with the older style ab crunch and swivel, as well as the old style hinge at the neck. I don't mind the hinge at the neck too much. That's okay, but the torso is a bit interesting. They went that way. Not a huge deal or anything, but just kind of interesting. But yeah, just super sick. I absolutely love this original Superior Spider-Man run. I don't know what they're doing with it now, but that first run, I remember being a bit iffy on it when it was first announced and whatnot, but having read it, it is a really good run, at least for me. I really enjoy it, so I'm really happy to have this figure. And that leaves number 1. What would be number 1? It's actually, I think, maybe the most recent Marvel Legends purchase I made in the year, which was at the very end in December there. I got this. I wasn't able to get a pre-order in for this figure. I was actually able to get it in store, which was awesome because it is definitely going to be a popular one. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get. But it is actually another Spider-Man. It is Black Costume Spider-Man from the Secret Wars wave. Absolutely love this figure. The only symbiote Spider-Man I've had in my collection for a while is one on the Pizza Spider-Man body, which is okay, but I wanted one on a newer body, and this one has a much better proportions. It's pinless, it's clean looking, accessories are good, and the thing that really sold me on this is I absolutely love this alternate head sculpt with the squinting eyes. He just looks so much more mean and intimidating with this head. And some of my favorite artwork of the symbiote's black costume suit and whatnot is when he's kind of got the eyes much more narrow and squinted like this. Just looks so badass. Poses nicely. Yeah, not much else to say. Just such a sick figure. Really, really do enjoy this one a lot, and he did take #1 for me. Anyways, that is pretty much it. Overall, that is my top 10 Marvel Legends for 2024. Of course, this is just my list and my opinions. Yours are going to be different, and if you have some top favorite Marvel Legends of the year, I'd be happy to hear which ones were your favorites. But anyways, that's pretty much it from me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, and I'll see you all in the next one.